people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. It appears that unbeaten up-and-comer from right here in the US of A, in the women's lightweight division, Stephanie Han, the younger sister of former IBF featherweight champion Jennifer Han, she will be returning to action in late November against an opponent that has yet to be announced in what will be her fifth fight, her fifth ring appearance this year. At 33 years old and on a schedule like this, you get the sense that Stephanie understands time is of the essence and she doesn't have it to waste. Having debuted back there in 2021 at 31 years old, she knows she's got to get a move on. She's got to make things happen, and she doesn't have a whole lot of time to do it, sporting a professional record of 9 wins with no losses, no draws, 2 knockouts. Coming off a solid win over Miranda Reyes, who, being honest with you, I thought Miranda was going to beat Stephanie. I picked Miranda to win that fight, and Stephanie won it. Credit to her for proving me wrong and proving she can do a bit more than just come forward and step into her punches. When she wants to, she can move and punch, move around, box. That's what helped her beat Miranda Reyes. Who's she fighting now? I don't know, but Stephanie Han is in possession of a lesser version of a WBA title. She appears to be going the WBA route. She's got the international version. At 135 pounds, Katie Taylor still reigns as both this division's WBA and WBC champion, while also undisputed at 140. Thus, Stephanie Han going the WBA route. Every fight that she has and every fight that she wins brings her closer to fighting for the full title that Katie Taylor still has, though it's conceivable that in the near future, Katie Taylor may vacate it before it comes to that. The way it is. There are 3 champions at this weight. There's Katie Taylor, unified champion Katie Taylor, who I just mentioned. Rhiannon Dixon, she's got the WBO, and Beatrice Ferreira, who's got the IBF. Stephanie Han's best bet to see herself become a champion, and bear in mind, it's not even a guarantee, it's not a lock, it's just her best bet, and this is all relative, is to stay on the path, stay the course that she's already on, the WBA route. As much as I like Stephanie, I don't give her very good odds to beat either Rhiannon Dixon or Beatrice Ferreira. I don't think she beats those fighters for the belts that they have. And I don't think she beats Katie for hers. Though if by some chance Katie Taylor in the near future vacates the 2 alphabet titles she currently has, the WBC title would go to Caroline Dubois, and the WBA title would likely go to Jessica Kimura. Canada's own Jessica Kimura, WBA gold champion. And it just so happens that where Jessica's ranked at number 1 in the WBA's current rank standings, Stephanie is ranked at number 2. She's ranked right behind her. So it would seem that they are on a collision course. Jessica was last in action this past weekend opposite the ring Bonnie Hunter, who she beat on points in what can only be described as a stay-busy fight. Right. Now, I would give Stephanie better odds against Jessica. I would give Stephanie better odds to beat Jessica than, say, Beatrice Ferreira, Rhiannon Dixon, or Caroline Dubois. That doesn't mean it's a lock. That doesn't mean it's a guarantee that Stephanie would beat Jessica. She just stands better odds of beating Jessica than those fighters. And because they both have lesser versions of a WBA title, it seems that so long as they stay winning, eventually they're going to have to fight each other. Sooner or later. Jessica would be a step up in class, a step up in competition from anyone that Stephanie has fought so far. Good fight. Something for next year, because I don't get the sense that Stephanie Han's next fight is going to be against Jessica this year. No, Jessica literally just fought. She fought this past weekend. It's too quick a turnaround for Jessica, I think it is. Stephanie exceeded my expectations in her last fight with Miranda Reyes, because I thought Stephanie was going to lose that fight. Stephanie Han comes from a fighting family, the Fighting Hans of El Paso, Texas, where her next fight is set to take place as part of a King's promotion show.
She needs all the rounds she can get. She needs the experience.
She's getting it in a relatively short amount of time. 5 fights in a single calendar year. That is what you want to see from an unbeaten up-and-comer in the first couple of years of their career. An active schedule, a busy schedule.
It's necessary.
It's a deep division where the landscape is changing rapidly, and Stephanie needs to get ready for it. Look for the ring return of Stephanie Han in late November on the 23rd against an opponent that has yet to be announced.
Did it just end there? Like, they reached out, y'all reached back, and then it just died? Like, that was it?
Yeah. As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because people making it seem like it was an offer on the table. Like, yo, niggas sent you an offer and all that.
Never got an offer. I never got one offer. I never got no offer to nothing. That's
okay.
cap. That's what people make it seem like, but I'm saying, like, when we speaking the truth, like, let's speak the facts.
Shakur Stevenson is outright denying that an offer was ever sent to him from Gervonta Davis for a fight, which will come as a surprise to no one, me least of all.
I say it all the time. Neither Gervonta or his handlers want any parts of that guy, any parts of that fight, because as boring as Shakur Stevenson is, he's good at what he does, and he can make you look really bad.
Takes care of that. Rayo Valenzuela. Rayo also chimed in on a potential Gervonta Davis fight, shutting down speculations that they might meet.
Not this year.
Rayo said, I don't got a date yet, but I'm just moving around. Yeah, of course, the fans are asking me about the Tank fight because they were excited about it, because that's what they're hearing. Nah, not in November. I've got a rematch clause with Pitbull, so we're waiting for them, and we'll go from there.
So no Stevenson, no Rayo.
I saw a blurb last week about a potential Tank versus Edwin De Los Santos fight. Edwin De Los Santos, who would serve as a common opponent between him and Shakur Stevenson. Now that fight, it's not a bad fight. Not a bad opponent choice, but it's not pay-per-view worthy either.
No?
Now least of all, the Turkey LL Sheikh has dropped the price point of his pay-per-views, his Riyadh season shows down to anywhere in between $15 to $20, where we'd have to pay $80 to $90 for Gervonta's.
And to see him fight who? The guy Shakur fought on regular ESPN for no additional charge?
You want to charge us in between $80 to $90 to see you fight that same guy?
Tough sell.
Rumor has it David Benavidez would be boxing on that same show as the co-main event, the same as the last time. Rumor has it that he could be fighting Philadelphia's own Jesse Hart. We're close to the end of September, and Gervonta Davis's ring return is estimated to go down either at the end of November or sometime in December, so they're playing it kind of close to the chest, and they're running out of time. It's conceivable that if they can't make it all work, Gervonta may have only fought once this year, and that was the Frank Martin fight. That didn't sell very much. Now, Gervonta Davis is one of the PBC's more familiar fighters, more familiar faces, one of the few fighters they have that can draw something. But if that fighter only fights once this entire calendar year, that can't be good for them.
Or the state of affairs over there.
Saw something about Shakur Stevenson saying that a part of the reason he didn't sign to the PBC is because they only really push 2 fighters, just 2 of their fighters, and he wants to be active. He doesn't want to sit on the shelf. You think about that, and then you think about this, that if Gervonta Davis only fights once this entire calendar year, what does that say about them and where they are right now? That they could only get one of their star fighters out there once?
That's it?
I don't want to speak prematurely. We'll see. Rayo's talking about Isaac Cruz having a rematch clause.
He better be careful. I've been saying it to no end. Rayo fighting the same fight that he fought on that Riyadh season show. If that would have been a PBC show, on the PBC side of things, Isaac would have won. Isaac would have got the nod. Now he's saying that Isaac has a rematch clause and they have to wait and see what he wants to do. If the rematch happens, and it's on the PBC side of things, so many people are asking him about a Gervonta Davis fight when he may not even make it there.
Well, to fight a better version of the fight that he fought, he needs to assert himself a little more, and I'm not sure that he can do that safely, but land clean, hard punches, meaningful punches, not just move around.
There's a thin line between creating space to set traps and outright running from your opponent.
Situation like that, it's all going to boil down to what the judges like. And the judges may not like you staying on the perimeter of the ring, the whole fight just moving around and not holding the center. Left to their interpretation, anything can happen.
Moreover, I've always got the sense that the PBC are more invested in Isaac than they are in Rayo.
If what they want is to get him that belt back, that might happen. It felt like there was an effort behind the scenes to build up a Gervonta Davis versus Isaac Cruz rematch. Rayo winning that fight, I don't think that was part of the plan. How could it have been? That wasn't their show.
It was a Riyadh season show.
That if there was a plan in play to build up the rematch between Isaac and Gervonta, Rayo screwed all of that up. Now they have to try to pick up the pieces and get Isaac that belt back so that he can defend it against Gervonta. Maybe that's the way it is?
Just a guess.
PBC have two champions at 140 pounds. They've got Rayo Valenzuela holding the WBA and the Dominican Republic's own Alberto Puello holding the WBC. What's going on with him? And what was supposed to be his fight with Sindor Martin.
Didn't that get ordered?
Can't say that I'm looking forward to that fight. I'm not. Though you have to wonder what's going on with it because it does involve an alphabet title. So everything is kind of haphazard over there. Kind of shaky, kind of murky. You don't quite know what's next. Even as it pertains to their star fighter, Gervonta Davis. One of the few stars they have left.
Who's he gonna fight?
What's that gonna cost? There was talk earlier this year of the PBC being in the market for a second broadcast partner. As it stands, that hasn't happened yet.
Still just Amazon.
And it still looks like they're facing a scarcity.
Why won't he fight David Benavidez? Like, if you keep saying all this stuff, come on, Canelo, you gotta fight Benavidez. I don't know why this fight hasn't happened already. Enough of the excuses. We can't put you in that conversation if there's somebody clearly there that you're avoiding. It's in your best interest to stay away from Benavidez. The Mexican monster is what they call him, the Mexican monster.
Yeah, that's his name. Yep.
Yeah, come on now. You fought everybody else. You run everybody else down. You walk everybody else down. You fought Caleb. You fought just everybody. Benavidez deserves a shot. He's been a champion. He's been asking for the fight for the longest. You gave the fight to Edgar.
Mason Betta, like many of us, wants to see the Canelo versus Benavidez fight, going as far as saying that Canelo can't call himself the best until he fights him. And that bit of it, that there, I don't agree with. I don't agree with that.
The history of boxing don't agree with that.
As if Canelo would be the only fighter in the history of fighting, the history of boxing, that left food on the plate. All-time great Ray Robinson never fought Charlie Burley. Ray Leonard never fought Aaron Pryor. Floyd Mayweather never fought Paul Spadafora. Paul Williams
never fought Antonio Margarito.
Most people don't realize that before Floyd Mayweather retired, Kell Brook became IBF champion, and he reigned as a champion parallel to Floyd and Manny. Floyd never fought him. Never fought Keith Thurman, who spent a lot of time calling him out. He never fought Keith Thurman. He never fought Amir Khan.
Manny Pacquiao didn't fight Amir Khan. Amir was calling him out too. Manny didn't fight him.
He didn't fight Terrence Crawford either, in spite of the effort from Top Rank to put Terrence in the ring with him. Manny didn't fight him. So is that to say that Manny and Floyd and Ray Leonard and Ray Robinson are not all-time greats because they left some food on the plate? Is that how this works?
You know it doesn't. You know that's not how this works.
Of course I want to see Canelo versus Benavidez, the same as all of you, but I'm not going to pretend that his entire legacy now hinges on whether or not he fights this guy.
Same old recency bias we see in the sport of boxing and the American boxing scene in particular, whatever shiny new toy, shiny new object.
Ms. New Booty Fighter, some fans latch on to. All of a sudden, it's the most important thing. It's the most important fight.
Floyd Mayweather's legacy did not hinge on him fighting Keith Thurman any more than Canelo's legacy hinges on him fighting David Benavidez. So stop with the double standards.
I have to periodically remind you guys that in the sport of boxing, there are a lot of fighters, really good ones, and some all-time greats that left food on the plate.
This is not a video game.
It's a disconnect a lot of boxing fans have with what lens they view the sport in, and I'm not suggesting that Canelo shouldn't fight David Benavidez. I think that he should, though if it doesn't happen, that doesn't undo everything Canelo has done in the sport and the history that he's made. Whether or not people even remember David Benavidez in the years to come, and whether or not they should castigate Canelo for having not fought him, all depends on the legacy that David does or doesn't create for himself. Crux of it is, if for some reason that fight doesn't happen, that's not the green light or the okay for David to take it easy. You're at a new weight now.
You're in line for the winner of Benavidez versus Bivol. You couldn't win undisputed from Canelo. Win it from them.
If that's what this is all about, if that's what you're after, though being honest, I don't think that's what this is all about. I think David is just another guy who wants to get paid to show up, like Edgar, like Jermell.
Same as them.
He doesn't want to roll the dice with anybody who stands a chance of beating him, which is why they've put off the David Morrell fight for so long. The only guy he's willing to roll the dice with is likely Canelo, because win or lose, he's going to make a lot of money.
Well, don't you think Turkey would pay him a lot of money to fight the winner of Benavidez versus Bivol?
I do, but that is an even more risky fight than fighting Canelo. I mean, could you imagine if Benavidez knocks out Dimitri Bivol, then David has to fight him? How do you think that fight's gonna go?
Artur Benavidez would knock him out too, and Dimitri, if Dimitri beats Artur and he fights David afterwards, he takes David to school.
No matter who wins that fight between Dimitri and Artur, whoever wins, they beat David.
Oh yeah.
We've been all through that. I would actually prefer that it be Canelo Alvarez to expose David Benavidez than either one of them, because I believe that he still can, because David is a very basic fighter, and the casual boxing fan, the casual observer can't see it, all the mistakes that he makes.
What they like about David is what is easy to interpret, that he's a big guy, big kid, throws a lot of punches, seemingly strong against lesser opposition.
For those who either don't know who the somebodies are, the solid fighters and the not so solid fighters, those who can't tell the difference, or those who don't want to, because they're just on that hype train
and they don't want to get off.
I don't believe the fight is anywhere near as important as some make it out to be, but I also would like to see it.
I love watching PBC fighters get exposed.
It's the double standards that bother me. That if Canelo don't fight David, he can't be the best. Well, what about Gervonta? Do you hold him to that standard too?
Because he hasn't fought any of his contemporaries. And what about Terrence? Since Teofimo has all of a sudden taken a liking to calling him out, is Terrence not the best if he doesn't fight him? Do you apply this obtuse standard to everyone, or do you only apply it when it's convenient?
Because it looks a lot like it's the latter more than the former. You only hold Canelo to this obtuse standard. Everybody else gets a pass.
Oddly enough, he's more accomplished than any of them.
Be disappointed if Canelo Alvarez's career comes and goes and he doesn't take care of this guy. I would. I'd be disappointed.
He can beat him. I know he can beat him.
But I'm not going to pretend it's the end of the world either. If Canelo Alvarez don't give you the time of day, you got to make your own legacy, my friend. And that's what I think you and your fans are afraid of.